Hey, welcome back to Modern Era Code. Today we're going to continue building our service business website, and we're going to focus on the booking page. We will build out this UI, we'll build out this form, we'll build out the API route to handle the submission of the form, and we'll even add in a little bit of validation just to ensure we're sending the correct data. Let's dive in. Back over here in VS Code, we can create our new book route inside of our app directory. We'll create a new file. We'll do book/page.tsx. And this will create the book route. Inside of here, I'll use the React snippets that we talked about in the previous video to generate some of this boilerplate code. Let's rename this to booking page, just for clarity. This div here, we can get rid of and make it a main tag. And inside of this main, we're actually going to reuse our motion package to generate us a video. Now you can see here TypeScript is already telling us it's mad because it doesn't know what motion is. That's okay, we just need to give it an import there. And any time that we're going to use motion, we have to put in the use client directive to make this a client component. Inside of our motion video tag here, we do need to create a source so it knows what video to play. Okay, we can see that our source element is pointing at our static directory. Inside of that, we have a videos subdirectory. And inside of that, we have a web typing.mp4 video. As I mentioned in my previous video, all of the images and videos that I get for this project, I actually get from unsplash.com. It is perfect for getting high quality images and videos for projects just like this. And it's completely free. Okay, moving on, underneath our motion video tag here, we're actually going to reuse motion to generate us a div with a header. Let's go ahead and close those off. This is just saying we want motion to animate in this div with a delay of a half a second. These class names here come from Tailwind CSS. And this is our header. Web development is hard. It's perfect. Let's go ahead and give this a save. And we'll make sure our route is working. So if we go over to our app, if we go to our services tab, we can see we get a 404 here. That makes sense. We haven't actually built a route for this yet. But if we go to our booking tab, we can see our video is playing and we get our web development is hard header. Now, it looks a little funny because there is some CSS we need to add to this, but we can go ahead and do that now. If we look at our motion video, you can see we gave it a class name of BG. Easiest way to do that is to go over to our global CSS file. We can add in the roles for our BG class. We're just saying we want the background image to be fixed with a full height and width, put it behind everything else, and cut down its opacity just a little bit. Give that a save. If we go back to our screen, we can see this is what it looks like now. Looking much better. All right, back over to VS Code. Underneath our underneath our header here, we're actually going to add a unorganized list. And we're going to have these tags if we go back to our production version of the site. We're going to have these tags in here rendered underneath this. Easiest way to do that, we go ahead and grab those, go back to VS Code, and we can generate an array of tags that we want to map over. Okay, just like that. And inside of our organized list, We can actually map over these tags and create individual li elements for each one. This is just going to create us an li element. Inside of it, we're going to have a div with an icon and the tag itself. You can see TypeScript is letting me know it doesn't know what this icon is. We just need to import that from Hero Icons, which is a package we've already installed. Go ahead and give this a save. Go back to our UI, and we can see this is what it's looking like. So far, so good. Back over to VS Code. Underneath our list here, we're going to actually create an image box specifically for that picture on the right-hand side. Our image component we want to import from next/image. And to pull this menu up on a Mac, if you hit Control Space, it'll pull up this menu so you can do a quick import. The image that we're rendering here is inside of the static images directory. Went ahead and gave it a height and width and made it position relative. So it's relative to the box here. If we give this a save, we can go back to our UI, and this is what it's looking like. So this is our production version, and this is what we're after. We're getting closer. All right, back over in VS Code. Underneath our motion div here, we're going to generate another motion div to bring in that content at the bottom of the page. Give that a save. Go back over to our UI, and we can see it down here. Now we're also after these little tags on the right-hand side, so let's go ahead, copy those, go back over to VS Code, and let's map over those and put them in there. Cool. So first off, we'll go ahead up to the top, we'll create these tags. I'm calling mine solve list just to make things easy. And underneath our line here that says in the framework you choose, we're going to put another unorganized list and map over those tags with yet another icon. So right here. And again, we can import this icon from Hero Icons. All of these class names, again, are coming from Tailwind CSS. Really makes this kind of content go a lot faster. Cool. If we go back over to our UI, we can see this is what we've got. And this is our production version. So this is what we're after. So what's left is this little form here. Let's go ahead and do that. For that, I'm going to do one more motion.div. So back over here in VS Code, we'll actually add that guy in underneath this one. This one here is going to actually house our booking form, but we're actually going to create that as a common component in case we want to use it somewhere else in the UI. And that's a perfect case for putting it in our components folder. So we can add a booking form.tsx file here. I'm going to use my React snippets that we had mentioned previously to generate that boilerplate code. Go ahead and get rid of that div. Now in here, we're going to need to change a couple things. First things first, we need to make this a client component with the use client directive. We're going to import our use router hook from Next navigation. And we're also going to import use state. So we're going to have to use all of these for this file. In here, put in some of this like boilerplate so we can get things going. We have our use router declaration, our state for form data, and our state for loading. And I got a block of code here that I'm going to paste in for the form, and then I'll walk through kind of what it's all doing. Here we have our form component. And we have an input for your name, and we have an input for email, an input for the service that you're requesting, and an input for the date, as well as our submit button. The content inside of that button, depending on the loading state, will either say booking or book now. Cool. In addition to that, we are going to have a handle submit method for our form component. Let's go ahead and write that. This is going to be doing a few things. Ultimately, this e.prevent default is going to prevent the page from refreshing when the form is submitting. We're going to simulate an actual API call here, so we're setting a loading state to true. We're firing off our API call to save the data. Now, we're not saving this in a database anywhere. We're kind of mocking this up just to keep things simple. After this is successful, we set loading back to false, and then we redirect back to the home page if it works. Otherwise, we alert that it failed. Let's go ahead and give that a save. We go back over to our page component. It's still mad because we haven't imported our booking form. Let's go ahead and do that. Cool. Let's give this guy a save. Go back to the UI, see what we're looking like. Here we are, and here's our form. So in here, we can see that our validation is working. And if we want to input information in here, it will let us. But we're not doing anything with that information yet. So let's go ahead and create that API route that we looked at here in our submit method, which is /API/bookings. The way we do that in Next is actually super simple. If we create a new file, we can name it API/bookings/route.ts. This is how you generate API routes in Next.js. So it's going to live in an API directory, a booking subdirectory, and then the route to handle those. In here, we can define our methods like post, put, get, patch, that kind of stuff. For this one, we're only going to have two. We'll have a post and a get, one to create the bookings and one to retrieve them later. So first things first, let's go ahead and define our imports for next request and next response. We will need those. And we will want to define our post function. So let's go ahead and do that. This is going to take in a request of type next request from next. And then from here, we can get the data that we want. Equals rec.json. We can generate a fake ID just so we have some kind of unique identifier for it. Easiest way to do that is date.now and make it toString. Cool. Once we have that, we're going to actually add the booking. This will be a method that we define, but we have not yet done that. And then from this post, we want to make sure to return a response so Next knows what's going on. And now we need to define this add booking function. That is easy enough. Over here in our root directory, so the same level as your app, let's create a new file. We'll make a lib folder and we will call this file booking.ts. Cool. In here, this is where we're going to have our fake database, so to speak, of our booking status information. And it's super simple. We have a function to add a booking, we have another function to get the bookings, and we have an array of bookings that live outside of those functions so it remains stagnant. Now I have also defined a booking type here just to keep things in the TypeScript world. So we do need to do that as well. Again, root level, we can create a types directory. So let's do new file, types, and inside of that directory, let's make a booking.ts file. and this is where our interface for our booking can live. Now it is going to be super simple. We have an ID, a name, an email, service date, and any notes that we might have. And I need to make sure, I have a typo here, I need to make sure that that is actually defined correctly. So let's go ahead and rename that. Booking.ts. It looks like that fixed it, so we're good to go there. Let's go back over to our route.ts. This one is still mad because we haven't imported our add booking method here. So let's go ahead and do that. And now TypeScript is telling us argument of type ID doesn't work because we're not using await. And that's actually a simple fix. This is just saying our data object is not quite defined yet, so we actually need to await this rec.json. Perfect. Now everything should be wired up and working. And it's fully type safe. That's about it for this one, guys. We successfully created the API route to handle the logic for booking a service. In the next video, we'll dive into the admin dashboard where we can actually view the services that have been booked. I hope this video helped. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments if you like this kind of format. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.